And that seems very unique to each individual, right? That's why the journey is so vastly different to whomever you're talking to. I think, as Cesar Moy Yat said, it's only as alive and dynamic as the person using it, right?
Right.
So in that case, tell me more about how somebody could take the training and help them explore those things within themselves to make their life quality better, so they can have a better quality effect on the world around them.
Yeah, I mean, so you mentioned the Patriarca Moy Yat, and of course, he has a very important suggestion towards your question. Then the answer was, is, and will be Kung-Fu life. So share your time with your Sifu, if, of course, the Sifu is qualified to understand all this. And many are, I mean, I know many brothers, I know many people in Canada have a lot of people have very high qualification to help any student to provide Kung-Fu life. I mean, because provide Kung-Fu life is a big challenge for both sides, for Sifu and Todai. Sifu is instructor, Todai is student, right? So why? Because first, the Sifu must have the same experience with his own Sifu to provide Kung-Fu life. But even if he had the experience, doesn't mean he gonna be a good provider. Because to provide Kung-Fu life is something you must to adjust each time, and you be available to your student. And most of time, many of our instructors, Wing Tsun instructors, they are not full-time Sifu. They have, of course, some other job, and plus they have family. They have spent time with their own family and any other social activities. So that's why this is a big challenge. And second, I mean, on the side of a student, he must have time to share his time with his Sifu. Because sometimes the time the Sifu has available to a student is not the time student is available to have time with the Sifu. So I think the key for it is provide conditions to have more qualified Sifus, qualified full-time instructor Sifus, they have to be full-time, because then they have more time and have a good income to provide the family and provide good conditions to her own family, and that way they can provide Kung-Fu life to students. So nowadays, I think the key is prepare. That's what I'm doing here, and try to help everybody, to create conditions to be full-time instructors. Because I think that's the way. I mean, not just full-time, because they must be qualified to provide Kung-Fu life too. Otherwise this will be difficult. Because the Kung-Fu life is when someone who will explore what he learned in a physical experience, and he check how much he is putting in his daily life, what he learned, I mean, how he experienced in the physical aspect, Otherwise, be just an experience, and that's it, How he can be guided and check his skill in the daily life when he's with his Sifu.
In the part where in Po, it seems that the Kung Fu life has a really dramatic effect on that student, because exactly. I think that's when they have the most questions, and spending time with Sifu gives you the chance to openly talk and openly share that experience.
Yeah, because then Because little by little, after so many years, the student start to become like a brother of path of the Sifu. So, of course, the students also have a lot of things to offer for his journey to Sifu too. Just Sifu has something to offer to student. Student has also many things to offer to Sifu. But Sifu is Sifu. The student is student, right? But the student also has something to. So this is in the pole stage is very, very important. That's why we say the break, because then you have many ways to see the art. So that's why I mentioned, like us, we are professionals instructor. This is a bless because then we can learn through our own students, because we have, of course, our journey, and we try to make that journey richer than possible. But we can explore everything. So the student helped us to explore another ways who we never think before, So like 40 years of teaching, I could experience many these kind of opportunities, by learning from great students, because that's other things important. You must afford to have brilliant students, because if your Kung Fu is poor, of course, your students, people who try to learn from you, they also, they expect have a great experience. So to have a great experience is interesting. You have a brilliant students. In my case, I have many students, even more brilliant than me. So this is interesting, Of course, we can compare. Each one has all Kung Fu. But sometimes I see myself saying, wow, I would like to have that thing. It's nice, so nice. But luckily he's my student. Good, But, human beings like that, because you think, wow, very good. So this kind of thing, I think, make our Kung Fu journey even more lovable, interesting. And that's why we are very glad to have this road for many, many decades, until we dead, for a lifetime, let's say. Because that's the Kung Fu road, is a lifetime path, to follow, to pursue, to develop, and if you don't love it, you don't have the vocation for it, forget about it, because it will be too stressful for you.
Yeah, you definitely can't fake that. If we go back to Sao Po Lei, I think that you were describing the system at the beginning is very clear. I'm not going to say structured, but very clear that you need to have certain things in place, certain key understandings in place.
Exactly.
So you are now developing your personality within that to help learn to create conditions that are good for you. Mm-hmm. In order to do that, you have to understand you as you relate to the system itself. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So let's talk about Lei. Now, how does that begin to transform? How does that begin to affect the student in their training?
That's why, because we used to say Lei is a no structure phase of the system. So you never know when you start. You don't know. It's kind of, even Bruce Lee, when he mentioned about Jeet Kune Do, one day he said he regret to give a name, because even a name is not good to have, because you can, basically when you talk about Lei, it means you can express your Kung Fu in any circumstance, in any activity in your life, washing cars, doing anything, cooking. I mean, most of daily life activities, because all this is based on a very Confucian classic called Chongyun. Chongyun is a very famous one of the classics of Confucian teaching, which means Chong is middle and Yong means communality. Or in other words, how you balance your daily life activities, the common. Because they said the wise, the sage, they give significance to what is common, because for regular people, the common is nothing. That's why the things became a routine. Right? Because routine means things are meaningless. No more, nothing is new happen. Always same. But actually, it's not the same. So that's the difference between the sage and the regular person. The sage make distinction of these small things, the common things. Then embodied it, in other words, put in your body, in your behavior, and universalize this. What it means universalize? Means I put this in any aspect of my life. I put that particular experience which came out from the very common thing I experienced in certain moment, I can put in my behavior and put it in other aspects of my life. So lay basically is when you don't need any system to do that anymore. For example, we choose Wing Tsun, but now you have another thing. I mean, we don't even need the Wing Tsun to do that. I mean, Wing Tsun, the formal Wing Tsun, which is from Siunim Tao to Pacham To, 6 domains. Because, of course, in our case, it's a little different because we are Sifus. But let's say we are not Sifu. You are just a Wing Tsun practitioner. And you experience already the Pacham To domain. You access the Pacham To domain. So when you start the lay phase, you never know, because maybe when you start to see, I can put my Kung Fu when I'm writing an article. When you do that, then you feel the glimpse of the lay stage, When you put this in all things in your life, that's the lay zone, But I don't know yet to tell you because it's not my case. I'm working on it yet.
I love that. I think I've had students who'd come to me and start talking about very in-depth conversations, and they're just very excited about things, what they read online, what they saw online, and that sort of thing. And I remember a few of my Kung Fu brothers, when Steve would say, "I'm putting you in charge of their training, so let's you spend as much time as you can." And then I would say, I can't wait until you get the whole thing, because then the discussions we have will be incredible, so much more enriched. Is that true? Let's look at the lay, like you said. You don't know when it starts. Isn't that the time to have the best relationships with your Kung Fu brothers and sisters and Sifu? Because there's going to be a lot of unknowns, I think. There's going to be a lot of unclear understandings. And I think having the Kung Fu life is so important throughout, but especially in that stage.
Yeah, so that's why it's a bless when you have a Sifu who is seriously developing himself or herself in that kind of stage. Because even sometimes where I not see is the student achieve a certain level which is Sifu's not. you know, because he stopped in certain moment, because the way he see the system is too narrow to achieve a stage beyond the formal system. So, but in that moment, sometimes the big challenge is how you can handle the situation as a student, respecting your seafood, like say, like your father. Sometimes your father just study to high school, middle school, and then you go to the university, but he's still your father. And the knowledge you got in the university prepares you better to deal with your father limitation. Understand what I mean? Because after a certain moment, this become personal path. Yeah. So maybe the conditions your seafood provide to you make you go further than him in the system, in the process. So still you must be grateful, right? Because he did good job.
Is that the goal?
And you even can help him, but remember, your seafood is still your seafood, and you are the todai. You know, you never must forget this, or the sikon, however, you know.
Yeah.
And but of course, this is I'm talking this in a very theoretical way, because I didn't experience that, you know. Because, for example, my seafood Moy Yat, he passed away in 2001, and that means 22 years ago. Right. But still, I can feel it. My stage of development is much, you know, below, you know, the stage he reached in that moment 22 years ago, you know. So I still working, you know, and try my best to develop the capacity I have, because, you know, then I find out, I mean, his capacity is one thing, my capacity is another thing, but I have until the last day of my life to develop, right? So I working hard until that, you know, then I see, you know. But you're right, you know, this moment is the best moment to talk to your seafood, because he feel I mean, most of the time, seafood feeling is very solitary, you know, because the students don't understand what he's talking about.
It's hard.
That happen a lot too. Sometimes the seafood so too much ahead of his students. That's my feeling towards my seafood. My seafood is too much higher than us. So still, you know, after 22 years, I still feel, you know, I'm much beyond, you know, I mean, below my seafood, you know, much below, you know. But still trying hard, you know, try my best to increase the level of my kung fu, and I have a good reference, but doesn't mean I'm gonna copy him, you know, because this is just an inspiration.
Well, that's what you had.
The same way your seafood is your inspiration.
Yes.
But doesn't mean you'll be exactly like him. But in certain level or certain aspects, maybe you can be even different. I mean, achieve something unique than he didn't achieve, you know. And that means because your vocation. I try to do the same way too, you know. Try to find out the best way to express myself and see what I can contribute with society, with my community, with the others, you know, by help them and be helped too, because this is very important, you know. I mean, accept the help of the others. For example, you mentioned the brothers. My brothers, I never achieved what I got, you know. Never, because they helped me a lot. You know, if you know my story, when I went first time United States, I don't know, I have no money, no English, no culture, because the world was not globalized like today, you know. So it was very difficult. With all Kung Fu family, was impossible, you know, to got, you know, what I got.